Both Washington and Madison concluded that after everything they tried to do structurally in terms of the system of government and the constitutional system that we have, still at the end of the day it required involved and informed citizens who didn't just act out of narrow self-interest, but thought about the broad public interest and were actively engaged in their system of government. As we fast forward 200 years and look to our current political process, these founders seem prescient. We see our political process increasingly described as a culture war in which red states vie against blue states, conservative, traditional, faithful voters at war with secular liberal voters. And that description of our political process seems to imply that there is nobody in the middle, that you're on one side or the other engaged in this deep conflict in this deeply divided country. There's only one problem with that description of our country, and that is that it is a myth, at least with respect to the citizens of America, and the citizens of Idaho for that matter. If you look at the concrete research, the empirical data, most Idahoans, most Americans are moderate and independent-minded in their views. 60 to 65% could accurately be described that way. They might lean one direction or another, but generally they're happy to consider good ideas and good people from whatever their source, and they're frustrated by the degree of partisanship and the degree of special interest influence in our political process. But because it seems so hard to change, often they check out and they're the least involved, just as James Madison came to fear. Recognizing that a majority of Americans and Idahoans are moderate and independent-minded, and yet recognizing that our political process is deeply divided, it might be accurately described as a cultural war. I and others here in Idaho thought it would be important to try to do something to give that silent majority a stronger voice in our governmental process. And so about 2.5 years ago we founded an organization called Common Interest, and we now have over 1,000 members in Idaho, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, common citizens. Together we take 5 steps. First, the membership picks what they consider to be the most important issues coming before the state legislature in a given year. We pick 2 or 3 issues. Second, we develop a brief on each of those issues. We talk to the proponents, we talk to the opponents, we do our own independent research and develop a pretty thorough brief on the issue. We keep working on the brief until those involved on the issue agree with us that we have fairly captured the issue. Third, each member of the organization is randomly assigned to one of those issues. They've committed to spend an hour or a year studying their assigned brief and then sharing their views with us. Fourth, if a 2/3 or greater consensus emerges on a given issue, then that becomes the official position of the common interest, and we advocate for that in the state legislature. Fifth, every member commits to voting in the primary and the general elections. I'm pleased to say that 2.5 years into this experiment in government by the people, we have quite a track record to point to. 5 laws in the state of Idaho are on the books because of the common interest. It would probably not be there if it were not for our involvement. And in a number of cases, we prevailed against long odds and in spite of some of the strongest special interests in our state. This is a 2.5-year-old voluntary non-profit organization with no outside funding. It turns out, just as James Madison had hoped and had designed for, that if common citizens will organize in sensible ways and inform themselves and work to be involved in their government in an effective and meaningful way, they can, in fact, make a difference. We hope that you will consider joining us in this effort to promote government by the people, to fulfill that grand vision of government by the people that our founders embarked upon over 200 years ago. To find out more, you can go to our website, www.thecommoninterest.org. You can learn more and you can also join. We do hope you'll join us. Thank you.